Hi there. It is warm here in New York City today, and it is April 2023 as I record this. The reason I'm putting the date in is because I met one of my students who lives in DC now for lunch the other day, and she had done Kundalini yoga with me in the 1990s and still meditates every day based on some of the things that she did at that time of her life that she said were life-changing. However, we are older now. And we talked about something she's talked to me about for a long time. Oh, some years ago, I did a clip on menopause. And now I am doing a clip for super agers. My first yoga class was as a freshman in college. That was 50 years ago. And I do a lot of yoga, so I can still do certain things. My body has changed a lot, actually, too. And so I am not here today to show us advanced practices for older people, but rather this is practices to keep us moving at any age. So I'm going to start with a few props. One of the things that's very helpful is a block. I don't have more than one block here with me, and this is kind of an old block, but I use it here. And up in Maine, I will have many more props to work with as I build this YouTube channel. Another thing that's useful is something to sit on if you're going to meditate, or even for some of the forward bend poses. And this is a meditation cushion. You can fold up a blanket at home or use a pillow. I'm actually sitting today on two yoga bolsters. Yoga bolsters are also super helpful. And then two more things. One is the yoga wheel, which I'm really a big fan of because anyone can backbend on this. And a lot of us older people are really stiff on our backbends. My backbends got a bit stiffer, actually a lot stiffer, but I still do it. And then the last prop over here is the chair. So what I'd like to do today is just give us some basic stretches for basically senior citizens, and or maybe you're new to yoga and you need to just get your body stretching. So let me show you from here. The space is limited, so you're not going to necessarily see my whole body the whole time, but we'll do the best we can. So let's start out with our fingers wide. I'll give you some principles. Anytime you're going to put weight into your arms, and we want to do that as we get older, we want to keep those arms strong, even though our muscles do atrophy. They're not going to be as nice and big as they used to be when we were younger, but that's okay. You're going to spread your fingers wide and have your wrists at a 90-degree angle. You're going to curl your toes under. I'm wearing toe spreaders. Those can be useful too. I have bunions, but they're useful for anyone really. And as you breathe in, use the breath through the nose. So inhale, look up, press your spine down. Even if it doesn't go down very far, press it down. Bring your shoulders towards your waist. And as you breathe out through your nose, flatten your toes, bring your spine up and your belly up. Let's do that a couple more times. Curl your toes. Inhale, look up. Flatten your toes. Exhale, look in. You can do this a few more times. You can go whatever pace you want. You don't have to change the foot position if you don't want. It's always the inhale as you look up, however, and the exhale as you look in. I'm going to do a few more, a little more quickly. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. You're going at your own pace. Exhale, inhale, exhale. Good. Come back to the center. And then another wonderful yoga stretch is child's pose. So if you are tight in your hips or have knee issues, this one may be a little challenging for you, and you might need a pillow or some rolled up blankets back here and sit on those, or even just let your buttocks be up in the air. Okay, so here we are on all fours. Inhale. As you exhale, just reach your fingertips forward, pull your tailbone back, and relax your head. The goal here is not necessarily to have your buttocks on your heels, but rather to pull your tailbone back and reach your fingers forward. So I'm going to lift my buttocks. Let's say this is someone who's fairly tight. They're still going to get quite a nice stretch for them, right? And over time, we make some progress. We may not look like someone who's a lot younger. That doesn't matter. Some of the young people have very stiff bodies too. So don't ever judge yourself. Just keep moving. That's really important. Okay, you're breathing along the spine. And we're going to inhale, come up, and we're going to exhale and just get our feet on the floor, bend our knees, and let your head hang. One of my favorite stretches is Ragdoll. So let your head go. Oh, this is actually a stretch that I have on my newsletter for Soul House. If you sign up for the newsletter, you get 3 stretches that you can do in your office, and this you can do almost anywhere except maybe driving a car, right? Anyway. So you can sway a little bit side to side. You can hold on to your elbows or biceps, whatever you like. It's such a good way to stretch your back. And then we're going to inhale and come up. And we're going to exhale at the top. Now, I know I'm cut off, but we're going to go into a few sun salutes. I want to tell you something before we do this. If you are really tight, and lady, I cannot do a downward facing dog. That's what you're saying. Well, this is something I talked to one of my friends up in Maine who's in her 80s. And this is a downward facing dog with a chair, right? So I'm stretching my back out. I raise my tailbone as much as I can. And guess what? I am getting the same stretch in my back as if I were down here in downward facing dog. Okay. So there, I want you to know you can use that if you need to. I am not going to use it right now, but if you need it, grab your chair. Here we go for a few slow super ager sun salutes. So inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold over. Bending knees is okay. If you've been working on straightening your legs and you stretch already or you're pretty flexible, straighten your legs a little more. Inhale, take your right foot back with the right knee on the floor. If you're more flexible, you can take that knee off the floor, but I'm doing super ager here for anybody and you're not an older age. So I'm going to make it simpler and you can always make it a little bit less simple. So inhale, take your left knee back and then exhale, come back into that child's pose again. I always feel my second one always feels more open already. As we come forward, we're going to go to our belly. So inhale, come forward, use your arm muscles, try to keep your arms in and strong. So a lot of people kind of give up on their arms here. We want to get those arms strong. Exhale, come down, let your hips come to the floor. And we're going to go to a sphinx, very simple. You're going to come up onto your forearms. It's important to do back bends. So this is a simple back bend. And if you have something more, cobra or up dog, you can do that. But this is a simple practice. So what you want to do here is just get the front of the spine stretching and the back body strengthening. And you're breathing through the nose. And we're going to come up to a down dog. So inhale, exhale, come down, bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Come up onto all fours. Make this nice and simple for yourself. Set it up, curl your toes under. Now, if you're not used to doing downward facing dog, I suggest when you bring your tailbone up, that you bend your knees, that you have your hands and your feet fairly close to each other. This is not your classic down dog, but we're looking at doing this for super agers. Now, if you've been doing yoga and you know how to do down dog, it looks a little bit more like a triangle. And the further away you have your feet from your hands, the more challenging it is. So I'm going to go back to the super ager. And then we're going to take our right foot forward. Now, for some people, that is really challenging. So I'm going to do it the super ager way. Step, step. Oh, I can't get it there. I'm going to take my hand around my ankle and assist it, dropping my back knee down. And there I am in the lunge on the second side. And then inhale, take the left foot forward and exhale, either ragdoll or forward bend. Oh, it's kind of good to try to open up the back of our legs, right? Get those joints stretching, get those muscles stretching. And now we're going to breathe in through the nose, come up, reach your arms up because that's a really good stretch, even though you're not going to see me doing it. You're going to inhale, reach your arms up. Actually, stay there and I'll come down and show you. You're going to reach your arms up, though you're standing. That's an inhale. You're breathing, you're breathing, you're breathing. Good. And then exhale, bring the arms down. Okay, so sunsets are super duper fantastic. Learn that, do it every day, 3 to 5 repetitions, and that's all you need. But let's move into something a little bit more. We won't do too much more, but a little bit more. And that is, I'm going to bring us onto our back. And we're going to bend our knees. And we're going to come down onto our back and have your feet about hip distance. This is bridge or bench pose. And what you're going to do is you're going to raise your hips up. And some people can't raise up very much at all. That's okay. Whatever you can raise up, try to keep your hips, your knees, and your ankles in line. I'm going to grab my friendly block here and put that between my thighs. And then I'm going to lift up. Oh, now I'm squeezing that block and I'm using my legs more. I recommend using your buttocks. And so you can strengthen those as well. Largest muscle in the body. And then you can work your shoulders under you a little bit and keep reaching up and breathing through the nose. Make sure the back of the head is on the floor so you're not scrunching your neck either forward or back. And then you're going to inhale, you're going to exhale, lower down, and you're going to draw your knees into the chest. Now, one of the most popular poses in yoga these days is called Happy Baby or Ananda Balasana, blissful baby. So here we are. You're going to open your knees. This is great hip stretch. And a lot of us get very tight in our hips as we get older. So take your knees out to the side and then take the soles of your feet up to the ceiling. You might not be able to hold onto your feet or toes. Maybe you're going to hold your ankles or shins and pull the knee towards the floor, both knees towards the floor. Some people like to roll a little bit, right? This is a great stretch.
Oh, stretch the inner thigh, which means the inner hip. And then bring your knees back together, hug them in. Now, if getting up and down is challenging for you, super ager, then you're going to roll over onto your side. It's simpler. Tuck your chin in. You don't want to use your neck. Use your arms, use your belly. And inhale, bring yourself up. Good. So that was a nice little back bend. And so what we're going to do now is I'm going to use the wheel to show you this, but you may not have a wheel, in which case you might have to be ingenious and, I don't know, sit on a stack of books or whatever. So this is my wheel, and I can sit on it for opening my hips, right? And this is really nice. I work with people that are in their 40s and 50s and not yet up into their 60s that have tight hips. And this is fabulous for that, right? So you're working on that, because the next step is be careful of your knees. You're going to see if you can come all the way down. Many people can't. So if you're a super ager and your hips are tight, try this. Just try this. You do not want to hurt your knees. And what happens when we go into our hips is sometimes we hurt our knees. So don't do that. If you have this is great. We're not going to stay very long. Oh, good. And then we're going to hold on to the floor. We're going to gently come down. I'm going to do a little navel strengthener because our belly keeps us balanced, and that's really important as we get older. Keep our balance. So keep your spine straight, bring your feet off the floor, keep your knees bent, and release your arms if you can. I've worked again with people maybe in their 40s that have to hold on to their legs because they have not worked this part of the body, and it's really important to keep it strong. Try to keep your back straight. Try to keep your chin tucked in and strengthen that navel, that core. Good. And then inhale, and as you exhale, come down. Now I'm going to give you two options for one more back bend. If you happen to have a wheel at home, this is great. They are amazing. You can get this. This is a Dharma wheel. He's one of my teachers, Dharma Mitra. He is like 85 or 86 and does amazing stuff. So this is for those of us, and I'm one of them, who really doesn't have a very bendy back bend. But with support, you get release. So here we have the support of the wheel, and to the best of our ability, we release. This is not hurting my neck. If I were doing it without the wheel, I might feel more tension in my neck. If you're feeling tension in your neck, you always want to bring your head up. You don't want to create more tension than you need, right? So see how this is bending my upper spine a little bit, which really, if I tried without the wheel, feels like a brick, honestly. And the second thing to do, if you don't have the wheel, is a cobra. And I will show you some cobras for people like myself who have older shoulders that are not so good anymore. So you can hold on to the sides of your mat. You can make little spider fingers. These are easier on your shoulders, or you can bring your arms out in front. So inhale, I'm coming up. My hips stay on the floor. And notice my chest doesn't open all that much, but I am getting the back bend for my spine. I'm going to show you the one out in front. I want to try to bend as much as I can. Folks, this is really important as we get older. With osteopenia and osteoporosis, older people can fracture their spine in forward bends, just bending forward. So what we really want to do is make sure, even if we only get a little bit off the floor, even if we're down here, that we get some back bend. It's super duper important. Keep doing your back bends, okay? And now inhale, and as you exhale, come down. And then we're going to come up and stretch that out. Again, if you need to come up any way that you need to come up, right? Take your time. Now we're going to do head to knee pose. So bring your right leg out in front. Take your left foot inside the leg wherever it's comfortable. Some of you may have your knee way up. Some of you may have it down. This is where the block comes in handy again. Here it is. If your knee is up in the air, I recommend support. So you don't force it down because that's the way to hurt the knee. We don't want to hurt the knee. Try to get your hips as square as you can. Inhale, reach up. So we get that lift again. Can you feel that? It stretches your shoulders. It stretches your entire spine. As you exhale, try to come forward from your hips as opposed to rounding your back, even if you don't get very far. Okay, so here I am. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see this. Here I am with my back pretty straight. So a lot of people think, how far can I go? Well, yeah, that's great, but not as important perhaps as stretching from the hips and lengthening your spine. Because as older people, we tend to get this, right? We don't want more of that. So lead with your chest, come forward and relax. You can relax your head, but don't arch your head forward thinking you're going to get further. Okay, take a few breaths here through the nose. Maybe every time you exhale, get a little further. All righty. The breath is good. Now, if you remember these stretches and you do them at home, do them when you're traveling, Hold them as long as you like. You'll get more benefit holding them. And now inhale, come up. Very good. Just take that knee up carefully and take it out in front. When we transition, it's good to take time and be careful, particularly with our joints. So go ahead and take your left leg out in front, take your right foot inside the thigh. If you need a block or a cushion or something underneath your outer thigh or knee, please take it. Inhale, lift up. Exhale. Again, try to lengthen forward. Maybe don't go as far as you'd like to go or you normally go because you know you're going to round your back. If it's super duper round, just think of lifting the chest up, tucking the chin in, keeping the shoulders down. And if you feel like closing your eyes, I just did because I love Kundalini yoga and I do that so much. Close your eyes, but you can keep them open, right? And then I'm going to go a little further just because I can and breathe. Okay, couple more breaths here. And then inhale, come up and exhale. Bring the knee up, take your time, then bring it out. Okay. Now, what is really also important as we get older is balance. So strength and stretching and balance. So in the retirement community that my dearly beloved deceased father lived in till 102, they said the F word was fall, right? So as we get older, we're more prone to falling. So let's come standing. So two elements here. One is that navel that we worked before, right? That keeps us from, when we move, this can bring us back to our center. The other thing is having strong legs, right? So just yesterday, I almost got knocked down by fairly small dogs, but moving really fast at the dog park. And I was super glad I had done my yoga. My legs felt strong because my legs are fairly thin, but you want to keep them strong. So put your weight into your left foot. I'm actually going to show you your feet here, folks. So put your weight into your left foot. If you are not good at balance, take your right heel above the left ankle, which I'm demonstrating. Lift your foot and see if you can balance. If you've got the balance, you can use this like a little lever, like a little kickstand. If you've got the balance, you go, oh, can I go here? Oh, can I go here? And then take the hand and see if you can go all the way up. And then you can start with your hands at your heart center. And then as you move them away from your center, it is more challenging to balance, right? As you move your arms up, they can be at a V position, 60-degree angle. Now I'm bringing my palms together, which of course you can't see, and stay there. So I met another man at the dog park. Keep going if you can for a couple more breaths. I'll come up with you for a moment. There you go. See, arms are up. Then you inhale, you see if you can come out with control, and you exhale. So we had a young physical therapist that told him you should be able to lift up your foot, lean over, put on your shoe, tie your laces. I don't think I can do that. But what the longevity tests say, what you've been hearing about a lot on the internet in the last year or so, 10 seconds. 10 seconds. So see if you can get 10 seconds. So put your weight into the second leg. And again, you can approach it however you want. A gaze with your eyes is super important, right? So I'm gazing at the wall out in front of me. You're breathing. Your standing leg is strong. If you're on the inner thigh, push into that inner thigh. Use your arms and your fingers and everything to help you stay balanced. And then inhale. It's my wobbly side. And exhale, come down. Okay, very good. All right, let's just do a couple little joint things, then I'm going to lay down. Bring your feet a little wider than your hips and pretend you've got a hula hoop. No big deal. Just get this a little bit moving, those hips. This could have been a warm up, but I'm just going to do it as a cool down on this very warm April day in New York City. And now go the other way. Oh, and just breathe down here, feel down here, be down here, be aware. Yoga is all about being aware, right? Good. And then come back to center. Recently, I worked with a woman who is in my age category, and she, like myself, had developed some shoulder issues. I showed her a few things. Now her shoulder pain is gone. So let me show you one of my favorite ones. So what you're going to do is you're going to ground into your feet, and you're just going to draw a circle. Notice that my arm is super duper loose, super duper loose. This is a shoulder that for me, I had a crazy diagnosis, full bone on bone. The doctor said, whatever you're doing, keep doing, because anybody else would be in full shoulder replacement surgery. So I'm working the shoulder. Now go the other way, right? I stretch it, I strengthen it. I do not have the strength and mobility I used to have, but because I've done yoga for so many years, I don't have to get the surgery, and that's fabulous. All right, it's very happy. So now you're going to go to the other side, and you're going to draw the circle again. So when I asked this doctor, who didn't seem to know much about yoga, so when might I need the surgery? And he said, well, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it
and you may never need the surgery. So I think that's super duper encouraging. Everybody keep moving and then go the other way. Read an article the other day about a lady who's 100 years old, lives in one of those retirement communities. She doesn't particularly eat healthy, though that's a good thing to do. But she said she moves every day and she teaches yoga half an hour every morning in her retirement place. And I think it might be in a chair, but she herself moves her body and used to be a dancer, I think. But anyway, enough of that. Okay, so now I think that might be enough for today. So please come laying down on your back. I will demo that briefly and then I will sit up. So this is called dead person's pose. You want to relax on your back, and also known as Shavasana or corpse pose. And so you want to just really be still. Let your legs relax, let your feet drop out to the side, let your arms relax. If it's comfortable for you, let your palms face up. Why? This is more open position. When you see people holding on to the floor with their palms down, it's so interesting. You learn a lot in your yoga poses. So when the palms are down, they may not be aware of it, but what it means is they're holding on. They're not quite ready to let go. And it's challenging to let go and to be open and to be vulnerable. This posture is more than relaxation. It is about being open, being vulnerable. And if you have pets, one of my cats readily gives you the belly. My cat that was born blind, she won't readily give you the belly, even though she loves you dearly. And same thing with our dogs, right? When they really are feeling open and trusting, they give us the front of their body, right? So this is the open part of our body. The back is where we store and will all our stubborn stuff or all our stress. And so you want to let that back feel supported right now by the earth. And then lastly, as you lay here, you want to feel your breath. One of the best things to keep us healthy is to breathe properly the way we breathed when we were born. So as you lay on your back, feel the breath coming into your belly. We call the life force that comes in on the breath prana. And so if you come up one morning and you're feeling off, honestly, just do these stretches. I actually had a morning like that a few days ago when I was meeting that student for lunch. I was like, feel a little off. And then I did a couple hours of really good stretching and really good breathing. And it wasn't anything other than I just needed to get my energy aligned and get the prana going through my body. And so let's keep doing that. You know, this is something we want to do for our entire life. So you're still laying on your back. We're going to get ready to come up. So before you come up, we often encourage people to wiggle their fingers and toes. And I know that for me, my fingers still wiggle pretty well. My toes don't wiggle as much. They've lost their flexibility. I used to have much more flexible toes. So see if you can move your toes and start observing in your body what has changed, and don't judge it. Just work with it. That's part of the reason I wear toe spreaders. And then draw your knees into the chest. Give yourself a beautiful yogi hug. And if it's comfortable for you to roll forward and back, it's a nice massage for your back and vertebra. If that is not comfortable, please roll onto your side. So here we go, rocking and rolling as we call it. And I love this one, especially if you're on a carpeted surface. I'm on a wood floor, which is easier to balance on, but not as much fun for things like this, right? It's doable, but I like the cushion better when I'm doing this. Anyway, whatever surface you have, you work with it. And then we're going to come up and we're going to sit for a moment. And I'm going to just bring my little meditation cushion over here, because when you sit, and we didn't do a lot other than the head to knee pose, which you could have had a little elevation if you needed it. It helps to have our knees down. This is more comfortable in our hips, makes us more comfortable to sit. And I'd like us to sit and have a very quiet, calm moment before we close. Bring your palms together. Bring your thumbs to the center of your chest. Sense your breath. And while your eyes are closed, I'm going to move to the camera and stop the recording. But just take a few moments to sense some calmness in you, some more energy flowing. And remember that this is a good thing to do every day. And you don't have to do hours a day. You can do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. If you start to love it, you'll do more. All right. Thank you very much.